There is a moment when everything around you finally slows down. No noise, no distractions, no one asking anything from you. Just silence. And in that silence, you don't hear the world anymore. You hear yourself. At first, it feels peaceful, like a break you didn't know you needed, like your mind finally gets to rest. But then, something else starts to surface. Thoughts you've been pushing away, feelings you never fully faced, the kind of emotions that only speak when everything else stops. Because silence doesn't create anything new, it reveals what was already there. You start remembering things, not the loud memories, not the obvious ones, but the quiet ones, the moments you didn't react to, the words you didn't say, the feelings you buried because it was easier to move on. And suddenly, they're right there, clear, unavoidable, honest. You realize how much of yourself you've been carrying without even noticing. The weight of expectations, the pressure to be strong, the habit of pretending you're okay. And maybe you've gotten so used to it that you forgot what it feels like to just be real. Because being real isn't always comfortable. It means sitting with things you can't fix immediately. It means feeling things you don't fully understand. It means admitting that sometimes you're tired, not physically, but deeper than that. The kind of tired that doesn't go away with sleep. The kind that sits quietly inside your chest and waits. And in silence, you finally notice it. But here's the strange part. That silence isn't your enemy. It's not there to break you. It's there to show you what needs your attention. Because everything you've been avoiding is still a part of you. And ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. It just makes it quieter. Until one day, it speaks louder than everything else. So when everything goes quiet and you're left with your own thoughts, don't run. Stay there. Even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it feels heavy, because that's where something real begins. That's where you start understanding yourself without filters, without distractions, without pretending. You begin to see what actually matters to you, what hurts, what stays, what never really left. And slowly, you start reconnecting with the parts of you that you lost in the noise. The version of you that felt things deeply, that cared without holding back, that didn't hide behind silence, because silence can either feel empty or it can feel honest. And honesty is where change begins. Not loud change, not dramatic transformation, but quiet, real change. The kind that happens inside first. You start letting go of things that don't belong to you anymore. Old expectations, old fears, old versions of yourself that you've outgrown but kept holding on to. And it doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, like breathing, in and out. Some days you'll feel strong, clear, grounded. Other days, it will feel heavy again, confusing, uncertain. That's part of it. That's what growth actually looks like. Not perfect, not linear, just real. And through all of it, there is something that stays, something steady, something quiet, something that doesn't disappear no matter how loud or how silent life becomes. You, not the version people expect you to be, not the version you show the world, but the one that exists when everything else fades. That's who you meet in silence, and maybe that's who you've been looking for all along. So don't be afraid of the quiet, because when everything stops, when the world pulls back, when the noise disappears, what stays inside you is the truth. And the truth is where everything finally begins. And maybe the hardest part is not the silence itself. It's what it shows you about yourself. The things you tried to forget, the things you never said out loud, the feelings you convinced yourself didn't matter. But they did. They always did. You just learned to ignore them, because somewhere along the way, you started believing that being strong means staying quiet, that holding everything in is the same as control, but it's not. It's just a different kind of weight. And the longer you carry it, the heavier it becomes. Until one day, you feel it in everything. In the way you think, in the way you look at people, in the way you stop trusting, even the good moments, because part of you is still holding on to something that was never healed. And silence doesn't hide that. It reveals it, not to hurt you, but to wake you up. Because healing doesn't start with fixing everything. It starts with being honest. Honest about what hurt you. Honest about what changed you. Honest about what you still carry, even if no one else sees it. And that takes courage. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind. The kind where you sit there with your own thoughts and don't look away, even when it would be easier to distract yourself again. Because distraction is easy, noise is easy, but facing yourself, that's different. That's where most people stop, but you didn't. You stayed, and that changes something. Not everything at once, but enough to begin. Because the moment you stop running, you start seeing clearly. You see what you accepted, that you shouldn't have. You see what you lost, trying to hold everything together. You see how often you chose silence when you needed to speak. And maybe that realization hurts, but it also frees you, because now you know. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's where change becomes real. Not forced, not rushed, but honest. You begin to choose differently. You begin to protect your energy. You begin to listen to yourself instead of everything around you. And slowly, something shifts. You stop chasing what doesn't feel right. You stop holding on to what already left. You stop shrinking yourself just to fit into places that were never meant for you. And for the first time, you start standing in who you actually are. Not perfect, not finished, but real. And that is enough, because you were never meant to have it all figured out. You were meant to feel, to grow, to change. And silence is part of that. It's not the end. It's the space where everything becomes clear. So if you're in that moment right now, where everything feels quiet, where your thoughts feel louder than the world, don't be afraid of it. Stay there. Listen, because what you're hearing is not weakness, it's truth, and truth will always lead you back to yourself.